Amid Earth's last embers of hope, a piercing broadcast shattered the silence of night. Final warning. You cannot stop what's coming, blared across every screen. Dr. Gabriel Reyes, his pulse thundering like a battle cry, stared at the swirling cosmic data on his holo display. The grief of past losses ignited fierce determination in his eyes as he grappled with the dread and urgency of a message that foretold the end of everything he knew. In the twilight of an era defined by both magnificent progress and devastating decay, Earth had transformed into a realm of stark contradictions. Towering spires of shimmering glass and steel reached ambitiously into the heavens, while vast expanses bore the scars of environmental ruin. The air, heavy with tension and the acrid tang of burning debris, whispered of a planet on the brink. Inside the sterile, dimly lit command center of the Global Science Council, Dr. Gabriel Reyes worked feverishly. Streams of data cascaded across holographic panels, each flickering light a reminder of the cosmic mysteries he had devoted his life to unraveling. Reyes' eyes, illuminated by the cool blue glow of advanced technology, betrayed both his analytical brilliance and the haunting memories of personal loss. For years, his relentless pursuit of the stars had been both a refuge and a burden, a desperate quest to find meaning amid the chaos. Tonight, the final broadcast was more than a scientific alert. It was a clarion call, a desperate plea for unity and action against an unstoppable force. Reyes' gloved fingers trembled as he manipulated the controls, racing against time to decode the cryptic signals emanating from the depths of space. He recalled the faces of those he had lost, their voices echoing in the silent corridors of his memory, fueling his resolve to avert the impending catastrophe. As the ominous message reverberated through the laboratory, its gravity seeped into every corner of the facility. Outside, the world stirred in chaos. Emergency systems blinked into life and the once sleeping cities buzzed with frantic energy. In that charged, perilous moment, Dr. Reyes understood that the battle ahead was not merely against a celestial anomaly, the catalyst, but against time itself. Every second pulsed with urgency, every heartbeat a defiant promise to safeguard humanity's fragile future. In the quiet urgency of his lab, Dr. Gabriel Reyes became one with his data streams. The holographic displays shimmered with streams of celestial coordinates, spectral graphs, and pulsating energy readings. First leaned in, his eyes narrowing as he followed each flicker of light, his heartbeat synchronizing with the steady hum of advanced machinery. Every byte of information revealed a deeper truth. The catalyst, a colossal, relentless cosmic anomaly, was advancing with an inexorable speed. The data painted a picture of chaos incarnate, a force capable of swallowing the very fabric of space-time. Amidst the blue glow of illuminated panels, Reyes' mind drifted into memory. He recalled the haunting faces of those lost to earlier calamities, a failed mission, a catastrophe that had robbed him of his loved ones. Those memories, both tender and tormenting, sharpened his resolve. The stakes were not abstract figures on a screen. They were human lives, futures, and the legacy of a planet he had sworn to protect. The weight of these recollections lent gravity to every calculated gesture, every note scribbled into the margins of his digital logs. Yet, even as Reyes compiled his irrefutable evidence, a storm brewed outside the confines of his lab. High-level meetings were convened in government halls, their grand chambers echoing with the voices of dignitaries and bureaucrats. But instead of unity, there was discord. Skeptical officials, their faces lined with doubt and self-interest, questioned the veracity of his findings. "Instruments can malfunction, Doctor," one official argued, his tone measured and dismissive. "We mustn't let fear drive our decisions." Their words, soaked in political caution, collided with the stark reality revealed by Reyes's data, a reality that could no longer be ignored. As news of anomalies and inexplicable gravitational shifts began to trickle onto public broadcasts, the global atmosphere shifted. Emergency alerts punctuated the daily routines of millions, and hushed whispers of the catalyst permeated every conversation. In quiet corners of media rooms and crowded city streets alike, citizens absorbed the gravity of the situation with a mixture of disbelief and dread. Every news ticker, every hastily recorded emergency bulletin, amplified the sense of impending doom. Back in his lab, surrounded by the cold precision of technology and the raw human emotion of memory, Dr. Reyes fought to bridge the chasm between hard science and political inertia. His hands moved with urgency over control panels, recalibrating instruments and cross-referencing data points. With every confirmed reading, his conviction grew. The advancing force was not a distant myth, but an imminent threat poised to reshape the destiny of Earth. In that dimly lit sanctuary of truth, the weight of evidence and the echoes of personal loss intertwined. Reyes became the solitary voice of reason amid a cacophony of denial, a man whose determination to unveil the brutal reality of the catalyst was matched only by his desperate hope to buy humanity a few more precious moments of survival. The world outside had transformed into a maelstrom of unbridled chaos. As dawn broke over a fractured skyline, cities that once symbolized human ingenuity now writhed in turmoil. In New Carthage, towering skyscrapers trembled against a backdrop of dark, roiling clouds. The air was pierced by the incessant blare of alarms, and streets once bustling with life lay abandoned in a desperate scramble for safety. Natural disasters, violent tempests, sudden earthquakes, and inexplicable gravitational distortions swept through urban centers, fracturing concrete and shattering glass, as if the very ground were rejecting humanity's presence. In the heart of New Carthage, a sprawling square had become a stage for the raw panic of its citizens. Families huddled together under makeshift shelters, their eyes wide with terror as the ground beneath them buckled and heaved. A sudden jarring ripple in the fabric of reality sent a shockwave through the crowd. One moment, the world was still, and the next, a violent surge of gravitational force threw people to the ground. Screams of disbelief and anguish echoed through the tumult, blending with the distant wail of sirens and the relentless pounding of nature's fury. Government buildings, once bastions of order and control, now teetered on the edge of collapse. In the marble halls of the Global Crisis Council, heated debates gave way to bitter infighting. High-ranking officials, their faces etched with desperation, argued over the allocation of dwindling resources. Bureaucratic inertia and political self-interest hampered swift action. Each decision seemed mired in red tape and fear. The clamor of dissent was palpable as leaders, paralyzed by indecision, failed to muster a unified response. Instead of rallying the nation, they became emblematic of humanity's frailty in the face of cosmic inevitability. Yet, amid the bedlam, stories of quiet heroism began to emerge. In a narrow alleyway of the ruined metropolis, an elderly woman named Maria cradled her grandson in her arms, as they sought refuge from falling debris. Her voice, though trembling, was resolute as she murmured promises of safety and hope. Nearby, a group of strangers, once strangers now bound by shared peril, banded together to clear rubble from a blocked roadway, enabling a rescue team to reach an isolated hospital. Their efforts, small and scattered, shone like fragile beacons of human resilience amidst the overwhelming darkness. Across the globe, media broadcasts painted a harrowing portrait of a planet unmoored. In a dimly lit studio, a reporter with a hoarse voice detailed scenes of devastation, cities in ruins, rivers turned to torrents of debris, and skies illuminated by the eerie glow of atmospheric disturbances. Every news clip, every whispered rumor, compounded the collective anxiety. People everywhere clung to their devices, seeking updates, praying for a sign of reprieve even as the world around them unraveled. Back in his secure, albeit modest, research facility, Dr. Gabriel Reyes monitored the escalating crisis with a heavy heart. The lab was a sanctuary of cold data and unyielding logic, yet it offered little comfort as the severity of the situation became undeniable. Reyes' screens filled with live feeds from across the globe, satellite images of raging storms, seismic readings that spiked unpredictably, and the chaotic interplay of gravitational forces that defied explanation. Each new anomaly deepened the sense of impending doom, reinforcing the bleak reality he had long feared. Rhea's mind raced with calculations and probabilities, but his thoughts were not solely scientific. He could not help but reflect on the human cost embedded in every data point: a lost life, a shattered home, the irrevocable fracture of society. The weight of these realities pressed upon him as heavily as the data he analyzed. Every message from field agents, every desperate plea broadcast on emergency channels, was a reminder that the advance of the catalyst was not just a theoretical event. It was a palpable destructive force that had already begun to tear the world apart. In one particularly harrowing transmission, a lone voice from a coastal town recounted the surreal horror of the day. "The sea is rising faster than we can run. The ground is shifting beneath us, as if nature itself has gone mad." The raw emotion in that message, laced with terror and disbelief, resonated with Reyes. It was a microcosm of a larger collective trauma, humanity grappling with the unforgiving wrath of a universe that had suddenly become indifferent to their pleas. As the chapter of chaos unfolded, it was clear that Earth was caught in the grip of forces beyond any single person's control. The very fabric of society was fraying, unraveling thread by thread, under the relentless pressure of natural cataclysms and political disarray. Yet, even in the midst of such widespread devastation, there flickered the stubborn, unyielding spark of hope, a hope that despite the overwhelming odds, there remained a chance to resist, to rebuild, and to confront the inexorable tide of fate. In the midst of Earth's unraveling chaos, a spark of defiant hope began to kindle. Deep within a converted underground operations center, its walls adorned with blinking monitors and hastily pinned maps of a fractured globe, Dr. Gabriel Reyes stood at the head of a long makeshift table. Around him, representatives from disparate corners of the world gathered: visionary scientists, hardened emergency responders, and even once disgraced political figures, now desperate to prove that unity could overcome despair. Their faces, illuminated by the glow of flickering screens, reflected equal measures of determination and trepidation. Reyes addressed the assembly with a voice that resonated like a rallying cry against the encroaching darkness. "Our only chance lies in combining our expertise. We must develop a plan, a strategy to either mitigate or delay the catalyst's devastating impact," he declared, his words laced with urgency and a deep personal resolve. As his speech echoed off the concrete walls, each delegate found themselves transformed. Old rivalries and bureaucratic inertia were set aside in this collective moment of crisis. Holographic charts and real-time data danced above the table, displaying the relentless advance of the cosmic force. Expert after expert detailed potential countermeasures, gravitational field adjustments, energy dispersal techniques, and even experimental quantum stabilization methods. Amid the technical jargon, impassioned exchanges unfolded. A seasoned engineer from Tokyo argued, "We can recalibrate satellite arrays to create a temporary energy shield if we can synchronize our efforts globally." His voice, filled with a mix of hope and skepticism, was met by a defiant reply from a European astrophysicist. "We need a unified command structure, a single heartbeat to drive these disparate ideas into action." As the debate raged, small acts of sacrifice emerged that underscored humanity's collective resilience. In one tense moment, a mid-level official, once mired in red tape and self-interest, volunteered to bypass lengthy protocols and risk his career for the sake of immediate action. His quiet admission, "I can't stand by while our world burns, I'm with you," ignited a ripple of solidarity that swept through the room. Conversations grew more intimate, as delegates shared personal losses, fears, and memories of better days, a mosaic of human experience that bound them together against the indifferent march of cosmic inevitability. Outside the operations center, global emergency broadcasts and hastily organized relief efforts rippled through media channels. The sound of distant sirens, urgent radio dispatches, and the impassioned pleas of community leaders echoed in unison with the strategy sessions inside. In one vivid scene, a live video link projected a scene from a devastated coastal city, where residents, united in makeshift shelters, clung to hope. The visual was a stark reminder that every decision made in that war room carried the weight of millions of lives. Over the course of that long, grueling day, the room shifted from a place of fragmented agendas to a crucible of unity. Rhea's steady presence and unwavering dedication bridged the chasm between cynical doubt and a shared desperate hope. In heated yet compassionate exchanges, technical plans were refined, risks calculated, and roles assigned with surgical precision. His final words before the coalition dispersed for a brief necessary recess reverberated through the room. "We may not be able to stop what's coming, but we can stand together to face it, and in that unity, we become more than the sum of our fears." In that charged atmosphere of urgency and solidarity, as the clock ticked relentlessly toward the unknown, the seeds of a global initiative were sown. Every individual in that room carried a piece of humanity's collective will, a vow that even in the face of an unstoppable force, the resilient spirit of Earth would never be extinguished. A darkened sky shuddered with a force that defied nature's laws. From the horizon, the catalyst emerged, a swirling vortex of raw, chaotic energy that twisted the fabric of reality. It was a cosmic maelstrom, a tempest of gravitational distortion that roiled the heavens in hues of violent indigo and searing white. As it advanced, its very presence sparked seismic shocks and tidal waves, shattering the calm of an already trembling Earth. Across continents, the natural order unraveled. In coastal cities, the rising seas battered once sturdy piers, while inland, the ground buckled under sudden fierce tremors. The relentless approach of the catalyst transformed serene landscapes into chaotic battlefields, where the roar of collapsing buildings and the cries of desperate citizens merged with the relentless, otherworldly sound of the anomaly's advance. Within the high-security command center, Dr. Gabriel Reyes and his global coalition stood before massive displays projecting real-time satellite imagery and data streams. The room buzzed with frantic energy. Engineers recalibrated arrays, scientists exchanged rapid-fire calculations, and military commanders coordinated evacuation routes, all in a race against time. Reyes's face, illuminated by the flickering screens, bore the heavy lines of sorrow and determination. He knew that every countermeasure they deployed was a desperate attempt to delay the inevitable. In a heated strategy session, voices clashed over technical details and ethical dilemmas. "We can generate a temporary gravitational shield," argued a leading physicist, her eyes alight with cautious hope. Yet another expert countered, "Even if we manage to slow it down, this is a force beyond our command. It doesn't negotiate." Reyes listened silently, each word etching a deeper awareness of the monumental odds they faced. The coalition's resolve was palpable. They were the last line of defense, united not only by duty, but also by a profound love for the fragile beauty of their home. Outside the fortified walls of the operations center, nature itself seemed to wail in protest. The wind howled with a mournful intensity, carrying with it shards of debris and the echoes of a world on the brink. A lone broadcast from a beleaguered city painted a heart-wrenching picture of human suffering. A family huddled in the ruins of their home, a child's tear-streaked face lit by the flicker of a dying lamp. Such images underscored the brutal truth that, despite every ounce of human ingenuity, this cosmic force was inexorable. As the gravitational pull of the catalyst intensified, reality began to distort visibly around the coalition's base. Light bent in unnatural arcs, and time itself seemed to slow, every tick of the clock a stark reminder of the fleeting moments left. In a final silent moment before the ultimate confrontation, Reyes stood before the main console. His eyes, reflecting the tumultuous sky outside, conveyed a resigned determination, a vow that even if they could only delay the catastrophe, humanity would face its destiny with unyielding courage. In that charged silence, as the cosmic void pressed ever closer, the stage was set for the final reckoning, a confrontation not just with a celestial force, but with the fragile nature of hope in a universe governed by inexorable fate. As the final hours crept in, Earth's surface transformed into a tapestry of both ruin and reluctant beauty. Under a sky choked with swirling spectral hues, cities that had once pulsed with life now stood as solemn monuments to humanity's enduring spirit. In the distance, the catalyst loomed, a colossal seething vortex that warped reality and threatened to swallow the world whole. Amid the chaos, a profound silence fell over the battered landscapes, as if nature itself paused to bear witness to its own reckoning. In hidden sanctuaries and on crumbling rooftops, people from every corner of the globe gathered in a last desperate embrace of unity. In communities scarred by loss and despair, strangers became kin, sharing whispered words of comfort and hope. Across fragmented radio frequencies and flickering digital screens, a single message echoed, a final call to dignity. The desperate heartbeat of the planet, once discordant and fractured, now pulsed with a unified resolve as individuals and communities braced themselves to meet the inevitable with courage and grace. At the heart of the global effort, within the fortified walls of the command center, Dr. Gabriel Reyes prepared to address a world teetering on the brink. Standing before a massive luminescent display that mirrored the tumultuous heavens outside, he took a deep, steadying breath. His face, etched with both sorrow and defiance, radiated the quiet strength of a man who had borne the weight of countless tragedies and yet refused to yield. In that poignant moment, Reyes knew that his final broadcast was more than an announcement. It was a testament to humanity's indomitable will, a final act of defiance against the indifferent fury of the cosmos. With measured calm, Reyes began his address. "My fellow citizens of Earth," he intoned, his voice resonating with a blend of scientific clarity and heartfelt emotion, "we stand at the edge of an unimaginable abyss. We have fought against the tide of despair, and though our efforts may only delay what is to come, we have shown the world what it means to be human, undaunted, united, and resolute." His words, transmitted through every available channel, carried the weight of shared memory and collective hope, reaching into the hearts of those who listened in the twilight of existence. As he spoke, the images behind him shifted, scenes of sacrifice, fleeting moments of beauty amid devastation, and the faces of those who had dared to hope. In the final moments, as gravitational distortions warped the horizon and the roar of the catalyst filled the air, a serene acceptance settled over the assembled souls. Communities clung to their last vestiges of light, an elderly couple sharing a tender farewell, a child gazing at the stars with wonder, and friends clasping hands in solidarity. The world, even as it braced for its uncertain fate, shone with the raw, transcendent dignity of a people who had loved, lost, and chosen to face destiny together. As the last echoes of Dr. Reyes' broadcast faded into the cosmic tumult, the Earth and its inhabitants met the inexorable approach of the catalyst, with hearts full of unyielding courage and an eternal hope that transcended the bounds of time. In those final trembling moments, humanity's legacy was etched into the annals of the universe, a story of beauty, defiance, and an unbreakable spirit in the face of the ultimate destiny.